Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the debut show called the BB and TRB Trip Down Memory Lane for Movies, TV Shows, and Music Podcast with my co-host, Tammy Russell Brown, which is the TRB. Now, this is our debut show, and we're going to have a certain format for this one. We may change it up from time to time. We encourage you, after you watch the show, if something resonated with you, leave a comment below the video. If you have any suggestions or you want us to talk about something, please let us know, and we'll bring it up on a future show. If you're a movie fan, TV show fan, or music, this is the show for you. Please, as well, share it and subscribe to the channel. All right, TRB.
Okay,
Good
I'm ready for
afternoon to
it.
you. You know you're an hour ahead of me in your location in the United States of America. All right, let's see. What do you have for your movie?
The movie I chose was Ghost Town. Have you seen that?
I think so, but go ahead.
Okay. I've got Ghost Town with Ricky Gervais,
Yes,
Tia
yes,
Leone, and Greg Kinnear.
yes.
So, now the movie was written by David Koepp and John Camps. And it starts off with, well, the premise of the movie is that Greg Kinnear is fooling around on his wife. He ends up getting killed. Well, Pincus, played by Ricky Gervais, has to have a colonoscopy. So when he goes to the hospital for it, he dies when the sounds funny. It's not funny, but he dies. So for 7 minutes, he's dead, and they bring him back. So when that happened to him, that means he can see ghosts. So he doesn't know why people are starting to follow him when he leaves, and they're following him everywhere. And then he, realizes what it is because Greg Kinnear shows up, and he wants him to keep his wife away from the new boyfriend she has. She's an architect, and Ricky Gervais is not really a people person. So he's not really, he's not nice at all. I remember one scene, my favorite scene is she's running for the elevator. This whole elevator has these boxes, and he hits the button to close the elevator instead of letting her in. But she ends up getting into the elevator anyway. So anyway, throughout the movie, he he does start to help these ghosts. Most of them have something they left undone. And that part of the movie is kind of sad when he's getting it done, helping them get closure. Um, the best part of the movie is when Greg Kinnear gets hit with air conditioner because he's cheating and he's talking to the realtor who's called his wife instead of the girlfriend.
Mm,
So he's yelling and someone's putting an air conditioner on and it falls and hits him. But anyway, so this movie came out in 2008.
okay, I do
I probably should
remember.
have
I did
started with
see it. Yep.
it. Right, I forgot about that.
I like
But
Greg Kinnear. I haven't seen him in anything lately. I don't know if
I
what he's
haven't
doing.
either. I haven't either. But he played in Nephew was he played in You Got Mail,
He
Little Miss
also played
Sunshine.
is the one with Jack Nicholson. Was it as good as it gets or one of
Yes, yes, yes. He played in that too. That and Sabrina, I believe.
yeah, which is a
Um,
remake of well, I
yeah.
think of Audrey Hepburn movie. I think.
Okay. So Tia Leone's played in some other movies also. I saw her usually with Nicolas Cage. Um, what was it? I forget the name of that movie. I always forget what the movie is. So it was she played in Deep Impact
Okay.
about the comet coming and the tsunami. She played and Morgan Freeman played in that movie with her. She played in Jurassic Park 3. Not sure Sam Neill was in that.
Okay.
Sam
Okay.
Neill and William Macy. He's good.
Yeah,
And
William
then
H.
she played
Macy.
in
Yeah.
Bad Boys. And I completely forgotten about that.
Okay.
She played in Bad Boys. Um, and then we have also in that movie is Kristen Wiig. And you may know her. She was on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, I know she
And
is.
she's most famous for that. I think
Right.
1975, her most famous character is Penelope.
Right.
Right. Okay, she played in Bridesmaids with Melissa McCarthy.
Yep.
And see, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, there was a remake. Not that great, not nearly as good as the original, but she
Right.
played in that also.
Okay.
Okay, so let's get back to Ghost Town. So what happens in Ghost Town is he ends up falling for her, and eventually he has to tell Greg Kinnear that he needs to move on, And but what happens then is he gets killed. Well, he gets hit by the bus, but he doesn't die. So then they do end up getting together in the end. I think, other than the part at the elevator when he's trying to close her out of the elevator, I really like when he's helping the other ghosts get closure.
Okay.
And the soundtrack was pretty good also.
All
I
right.
think that's it for my movie.
Yeah, you just gave them the whole thing, even the ending. They're gonna
Make them
come
want
on
to
this.
go see
They're
it.
gonna come on the show and say, "Spoiler alert! You weren't supposed to tell us the ending." Okay.
Oh,
All
there's some
right.
more.
Was your did you knows? Was that what you did already about the different movies they were in?
No, but I have some did you knows for
Okay,
you.
go
How
for
about
it.
that? Now, did you know that Greg Kinnear was from your town?
From
Not your
where?
town, but your state,
He's from New
Indiana.
York.
Indiana. You're
Oh,
in
Indiana.
Indiana
Oh
now.
no,
Yes.
I
He's from
don't claim
Logansport,
Indiana.
Indiana. He's from Logansport, Indiana.
Okay.
But did you know that his father was a government employee?
No.
His father was a career diplomat
Okay.
with the U.S. State Department. And they lived in Beirut, Lebanon for about 9 months in 1975. And that's when the Lebanese Civil War broke out.
Okay.
The government then sent them to Athens, Greece, and they were there for, I think, 7 years before they came back.
Okay.
Okay. Ready for another? Did you know?
Go for it.
Did you know that Ricky Gervais had a band before he went to acting?
Nope.
Okay. Early 80s, because that's when he wanted to be a pop star.
Right.
So he and a schoolmate started a band, and they co-wrote and released two singles, but they didn't get much airtime. So that's when he decided so like a year later, they got rid of the band and he
Okay.
started acting. Now, you may know this one. Did you know that Tia Leone's grandmother actually her name was Helenka Adamakowski Leone. She's the co-founder of what became UNICEF.
Wow. No, did not know that.
She was the president for 25 years.
Wow. Okay.
That's just my do you knows.
Okay. Now, did you know, which I know you don't because Tammy doesn't watch entertainment shows, but her daughter Amber does.
Oh
So
my
Amber is
gosh.
going to be probably a correspondent here occasionally on the show. But I know you didn't know this, but I know you've heard of the E Network, right?
Yes.
Okay. Greg Kinnear used to be a host on there. That's where I first become
Okay.
aware of Greg Kinnear as a host. So, okay. It should be no surprise to Tammy, but maybe to the viewers it may be. Of course, I have to go with the 1972 Oscar-winning movie, The Godfather, which is my favorite movie of all time. So I couldn't go on the debut show and not do The Godfather. So it starred Marlon Brando as Don Vito Corleone, Al Pacino as Michael Corleone, James Caan as Santino Corleone, Robert Duvall's The Consigliere, Tom Hagen, Diane Keaton as Michael's wife Kay, and Talia Shire as Connie Corleone, Michael's younger sister. So, or she might have been his older sister. That I'm not, I think it might have been older sister, I think, but that I don't remember. So
Yes.
obviously, The Godfather, the book was written by Mario Puzo, was a huge, huge success. At that time, it sold, only book sold more than The Godfather was the Bible, the actual Bible, and not that guy that we don't care for his Bible, the real Bible. Okay. So it's it's about mafia, but they took that word out, and I'll talk about that in a minute. It's really about family, a family dynamic, but they're gangsters. And Marlon Brando is the patriarch of the family. Is it patriarch when it's the male, or is it yeah, matriarch is
Picture.
lady. Okay. Oh, and Morgana King, I can't leave her out. She played his wife, Mama Corleone. It takes place with Don Vito in charge of the family. Michael is the only one that didn't want to get mixed up in the family business. He goes off and joins, I think he joined the Marines. Okay. He comes back. There's a famous wedding scene at the beginning when Talia Shire, Connie Corleone, gets married, and Michael brings Kay, he's dating her, Diane Keaton, and he's against the family. He's not for the family business. They're all meeting with Don Vito because on the day of his daughter's wedding, he can't refuse any requests. So he's going through all of that stuff. Well, The Don gets shot by a rival named Salazzo, played by Alatiri. He doesn't shoot him, but he has his henchmen shoot him. And he survives. And like he says, 5 shots, and he's still alive. And Marlon Brando goes on to not die in the movie. Michael goes after Salazzo and McCluskey, who's a captain on the New York police force, who's dirty. He's on Salazzo's payroll. Kills him in a restaurant, and that's the turning point where Michael goes from this nice Ivy League kid to more of a ruthless gangster than his father could ever be. I don't want to give away too much more. Watch the movie, but I will do my did you knows. First of all, the producer's name was Al Ruddy, Albert S. Ruddy, and he gained his fame before he became a producer on The Godfather. He was the producer of Hogan's Heroes. And my dad knew Al Ruddy many, many years ago. I remember him talking about Al. I wish my dad was alive so I could ask him more questions about it. Now, if you have Paramount Plus, watch the series The Offer, starring Miles Teller as Al Ruddy. And it talks about the making of The Godfather and the mafia and everything they endured. Even Frank Sinatra's in the story and all that. Debbie and I just watched it. We really enjoyed it on Paramount Plus. Now, did you know, Tammy, that Marlon Brando won the best Oscar for The Godfather?
I think yes.
Okay. I would hope you knew that one. Now, I want you to know, folks, Tammy doesn't watch award shows, but that's going to change starting this year.
Who
So
does
he
that?
he won his Oscar for portrayal of Don Vito Corleone. But what he did, it was controversial at the time and really pissed off John Wayne. But we're not even going to get into what John Wayne, what we found out John Wayne is. He sent up Sacheen Littlefeather, an Apache actress and activist, to the stage in his place. Littlefeather read his speech, explaining that he was refusing the award in protest of the film's industry's negative portrayal of Native Americans. And if you remember, because you're a movie buff there, a lot of movies, they weren't Indians. They were people that they darkened their
Right.
skin and they played Indians. Okay.
Exactly.
Very few played it. Like Tonto, Jay Silverhill was Indian. Will Sampson was another Indian actor. But a lot of them, Chief Dan George was like he was in Little Big Man with Dustin Hoffman. But most of them, they weren't Indians. Even especially on the comedies, they were American actors who they darkened their skin and then they try to talk like Indians. Okay. Did you know that Talia Shire is the sister of Francis Ford Coppola?
Yes.
Okay. And did you know, my last one for this about Talia Shire, that this actress in two franchises, excuse me, got 8 movies. Can you take a guess what they were?
One of those franchises was Rocky.
Correct. And who did she play?
She played Adrian,
Okay.
Rocky's wife.
Got 5 movies. One,
Played.
two, three, four, five. She was
Right.
they alluded to her in six, which came 1990 was the last one. Then he made Rocky Balboa in 2006, but she was dead. He would go to the cemetery and
Mhm.
see her. I can't remember if there was any flashbacks, but I don't think so. I can't remember that.
I don't think they went. I don't think
And,
so.
and what was the other one she got 3 movies out of?
The other was The Shining.
Nope, she was in The Shining. That was Shelley Duvall. In the movie I just
Okay.
talked about, where she played Connie
The
Corleone.
Godfather. Yes. Okay.
So she was in one, two, and three. In
Right. One,
part
two, and three.
three, she was ruthless in it. She became basically the head of the family because she whacked Don Altabello, played by Eli Wallach. Okay, let's segue into our next segment. And that is, and for the viewers, we're going to be doing various TV shows. But what Tammy and I agreed on is we're going to stick with the Twilight Zone for a while because it's one of those shows that you may have watched another series and watched every single episode, but you don't remember everything about it. But with the Twilight Zones, if you really watched it, you remember the episodes. You may not remember the
Right.
title or that, but you'll remember as soon as you start talking about it. Everybody that watched the show remembers the episodes. They can pull one out. So, what do you have for the Twilight Zone?
Twilight Zone. I have season 4, episode 10. No time like the past. Do you recall that one? Okay. So that stars Dana Andrews. His friend is Robert Simon, and then there's Patricia Breslin. So I'm sorry, not Robert Andrews, Dana
Dana, yep.
Andrews is a physicist, and he's not contented with the way the world is now. He wants to go to a better time before there were any kind of bombs, any nuclear bombs, all the killing and death. He's just, he doesn't want to have to deal with any of that, so he wants to leave. But he's also decided, since he made this machine, he can go back and change some things in the past. So he chooses three events that he'd like to change. He'd like to go back and stop Hitler. He wants to stop the sinking of the Lusitania. And he wants to go back and, what was the other one? Lusitania,
I can't
Hitler.
remember, but I know the episode.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Okay, so let me move up from it. So when he goes, he first has to call his friend over. And that's what Robert Simon is for. His name is Harvey. He needs him to work the machine to help him go. He goes and it doesn't work. He Hiroshima, he wants to stop the bomb.
Okay.
So he goes there first. He goes to Japan. He goes to 1945 Japan. And they don't believe him. As soon as he leaves, the bomb explodes. He comes back. He wants to take his second trip. So, and the whole time Harvey's telling him, you can't change the past. It's going to be, really awful if you try to change the past. But he still tries. So he goes then to try to stop Hitler. The gun won't fire.
Mm.
So he didn't get that done either.
Hmm.
One last time, he tried to stop Lusitania from sinking. So the captain, he just wants to change the course. He says, look, 1 degree will save you guys. They wouldn't listen to him. So of course you know what happened.
Hmm.
So he still decided that he wasn't content living where he was. He just wanted to leave. He didn't want to stay here anymore. So he decided that he would go back to 1818. He wanted to go back and was it 1818? Right out, I forget that.
I don't remember that
I
part.
think I
I
think it
know the
was.
episode though.
I think it was, yeah, because he wants to go back and he wants to just live there. Then he realizes when he gets there, hey, a fire happens here. I can stop it. Of course, no, he didn't stop it. By trying to stop it, he started it. So he decided to go ahead and go back home.
Yeah.
So nothing worked out, and he decided to come back home and just, live like he should have anyway.
Right.
Now, my did you knows? Did you know he has a famous brother?
I do, and let me see if I can think of who it is.
Okay.
Give me a hint.
He was an action star, like in the 60s and 70s.
Mm-mm. Go ahead, tell me. I've
Okay.
seen this before. I can't remember who it is. No.
Initials SF?
It's not Steve Forrest, is it?
Yes, that's
Okay.
his brother.
Remember when we talked about the other night? I had Peter Graves and James Arness because they were
Yeah.
brothers from Gunsmoke and from Mission
Uh-huh.
Impossible. That's who it was. Steve Forrest played on SWAT in the 70s.
Okay.
He was the police chief.
Okay.
I think it's police chief, but he played on it. Yeah, okay, that's who it was. Steve Forrest. Yep.
Okay. Did you know they both played in Twilight Zone episodes?
Say it again.
Did you know they both played in Twilight Zone episodes?
I don't. Did Steve Forrest play an astronaut?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
He was actually a major who went off. He was an astronaut and went off and he came back and things were just different for him. They thought
Okay.
he lost his mind. He came back in a different ship, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
Okay. So the next, did you know? Did you know? Let's see. That Dana Andrews and Robert Simon played in other movies together.
No.
Do you know what they are? You don't
Nope.
know? Okay, so he plays as a time traveler and he's assistant. That's the Twilight one we just discussed. So
Okay.
then he also plays a movie together Where the Sidewalk Ends.
Okay.
That
Never heard
was
of it.
1950, I think.
Okay.
Jean Tierney's in it.
Okay.
She's a love interest.
Okay. Did you know? Because you told me you were watching Laura. Isn't Dana Andrews in Laura?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
He's in Laura.
Yep.
So is Jean Tierney.
Yeah. And Gene Tierney, right?
She's in that one also.
Yeah. No, I
She's
think
in
that
it.
was 1944, I think.
And I think Vincent Price is in it also.
Yep. Yep.
Yes,
He was a big actor at one time, Dan Andrews. Very good actor.
he was. Did you know that in the Twilight Zone, in the episode I just discussed, that same set was used in another episode? The little small town set. What was it?
I don't know what it was, but it comes to mind. I'm going to guess.
You
I'm
know
going
the
to make a
show.
guess. Was it? It wasn't the first episode with Earl Hallman, was it? Was it the one with Charles Bronson and okay, I don't know.
Nope. A Stop at Willoughby, 1960.
Oh yeah, I love a stop at
Same
Willow.
set.
Yeah, that was
Right,
a good
same
one. It was a
set.
good episode.
It
That was a
was.
good episode. Okay, that's a good one. Okay, look at this. Usually I get her with did you knows when we talk offline and she doesn't know. But tonight, or today I should say, she got me. Okay, anything else?
Nope, I think that's it.
Okay. So my Twilight Zone is 1959, season one, Walking Distance, my favorite episode of all time. Starring Gig Young, Frank Overton as his father, he played Martin Sloan, Gig Young did, and a young Ron Howard. Okay?
Okay.
What it's about is he pulls into the town. And doggone, I can't think of the town now. I can't believe I can't think of the town. But then this is off the top of my head. He stops at the gas station. He's blowing a horn. He gets his oil changed, and he wants to walk to the town. And I cannot remember the name of the town. But it says he said, "Yeah, it's walking distance." That's where the name of the title comes from. And he goes back and it's when he's a kid and he sees himself as a young Martin Sloan. He runs into Ron Howard, and Ron Howard's playing with marbles, and he goes to the park, and Martin is carving his initials into a tree, and he sees them, and he realizes that's him as a kid, and he goes to the parents' house, and he's trying to explain to them, "Hey, I'm Martin Sloan." He picks up, he shows them his wallet, and they're like, "You're not Martin Sloan. You're not Martin Sloan." I don't want to give away the ending because it's sad, but it's also teaches us that you never can go back. There's only, his father tells him there's only one summer, and it's Martin the kid's summer. And he's like, but Pop, and you can't. Now, did you know that that was Rod Serling's favorite episode?
No, I didn't know that.
Because it was basically his town of where he was
Okay.
from in New York. And I cannot, again, someone leave a comment below what the name of the town is. It's not registering with me what the name of the town was. Okay, so you had a young Ron Howard.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you, it's not really a did you know, but I'm going to ask you, what show did he go on to the following year? And I don't think that show has ever been off the air since then, as far as in reruns.
Andy Griffith.
Andy Griffith Show, and he played
Opie.
Opie Taylor, exactly. And then I know you know this. He went on to be a great director.
He did.
His father in the Walking Distance, Gig Young's father, Frank Overton, played in another episode, and I believe it was an hour one because Rod was doing hour-long ones.
Hmm.
Excuse me. And if I remember correctly, Ann Jillian was a little girl, and she came from, I forget where she came from, and she has like almost like ESP. She had like special powers. And Frank, if I'm right with that episode, because I'm doing this off the top of my head, I believe he played a sheriff, and I can't remember if he was the one that adopted her or another family did. I think he adopted her, him and his wife.
I think the
Okay.
sheriff did. Yeah.
Okay. Did you know that Gig Young tragically killed himself? I can't remember if it was 1978 or 79. Shot his wife and then shot himself.
Okay, I did.
Okay, and there's a great biography. It's probably still out there called Final Gig, and I read about him. He was a big star, and they thought he was going to be like the next Cary Grant because he could do comedy and stuff like Cary Grant. He was a good-looking man. I remember him in a movie with not James Cagney, John Garfield. I don't know if was it no, it wasn't Destination 2. I can't think of the name of the movie now. He was a pilot, and Garfield was in it. Good movie, but tragic ending. And I believe he won an Oscar for They Don't Shoot Horses. I think that was the name of it, and he won an Oscar for it. Okay, so
Okay.
those are our Twilight Zones. Let's segue into our last segment, which is music. It could be an artist, it could be a song, it could be a record, it could be a soundtrack, it could be whatever. So what do you got?
I took a song from Ghost Town. Citizen Cope. His name
Okay,
is actually Clarence Greenwood, and the name of the song is Sideways.
okay,
Do you know the song?
nope,
Um, I've read different things about what the song is about. Clarence Greenwood has never said what the song is about, but I believe it's about loss and grief.
okay.
Let me
Is it
see.
country or what type of
No, no,
genre?
no. Now, his music has been characterized as being not pop. It's more like blues,
Okay,
blues, rock. and I think there was something else, but it's not country at all. So, did you know, first of all, he was with other music companies first. Do you know who they were?
Nope, I have no idea. I don't even know who he is. So this is a good one.
Oh, so I got you with that one. Okay.
Yep.
So his music has been recorded by several artists.
Okay.
Um, Let me see. Carlos Santana. As a
Great.
matter of fact, Carlos Santana did Sideways.
Okay.
In his version, he uses an electric guitar.
Okay.
Clarence Greenwood uses a classical guitar.
Okay.
Sheryl Crow, John Mayer, Tyler James, Richie Havens, and Eric Clapton.
Oh,
They've all done
wow.
his music. They've all done music with him.
Okay.
So the song was first recorded by Santana. Clarence Greenwood wrote it, but he let Santana record it first. It was on their 2002 album.
Okay.
And then he put it on a 2004 album. It was the recordings of Clarence Greenwood.
Okay.
Let's see here. He has his own record company. He currently produces his own music. He produces his own label. It's Recordings, founded in 2010. But the other companies he was with that I asked you was he's with RCA Records, DreamWorks, Arista, and Capitol.
Okay.
He signed with
All
all of
major
them.
recording labels.
He signed with all. Now he's just on his own.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. So mine is the theme from New York, New York by Frank Sinatra. Came out in
Amazing.
1980 on the Trilogy album. It was a three record set. It was past, present, and future. The future was horrible. I think Frank did a favor for somebody because I don't even understand that last album. I never got the future one. It's very strange. But the past was like standards that he recorded years ago.
Mhm.
So it was a big hit for him. Did you know, or do you know, every year where they play this song and why?
I don't know.
Okay. Do you watch the ball drop in New
No.
York in Times Square? Tammy don't watch that stuff. I bet Amber does. So
He does.
every time they drop the ball and they go 10, 9, 8, that ball drops and man, it's Times Square and hits the ground. Not hits the ground, but it doesn't hit the ground.
Yeah.
But at the bottom, Frank comes on and he starts spreading the news. He starts singing a theme from New York, New York. Have you ever seen the 1977 movie? It didn't do well. It was a good movie, but it didn't do well. Called New York, New York, starring Robert De Niro, directed by Martin Scorsese, and starring Robert De Niro and Liza Minnelli. Have you ever seen that movie?
Yes.
That song was in that movie. That song was originally for Liza Minnelli. Okay,
Okay.
wasn't
I
for
didn't know
Frank.
that.
Frank wound up recording it, and then it went on to be iconic for him. Yeah, everybody knows New York, New York.
Okay.
Okay. That's my Did You Knows for that song. Is my favorite Sinatra song. I play it all the time. Debbie loves it. Every time I put it on, she sings it. And like I said, supposedly I'm hearing that they're not going to play it at Yankees games anymore. I don't know why, because it's so ingrained in New York culture. I'm surprised to hear that. But hey, that's up to them what they do. I'm not a Yankees fan anyway, so
Hmm.
it doesn't matter. All right. Since this is our debut show, any parting thoughts that you got for the viewers or anything you want to put out?
I don't think so. They should come back and see the next movies I choose.
Okay. Now, folks, if you don't know, and by now, Tam and I talk a lot offline about movies. We will go hours going back and forth about movies. She may not know the title, but once I tell her the premise or whatever, she knows it. So, where she's going to get
My
more
memory's bad.
stick is this. She's going to be looking up dates, doing research, and she's going to have no choice but to watch some entertainment shows. Or she's going to cheat and
Oh
she's
my
going to
gosh.
have Amber do it for her. But somebody in that household is going to be watching these shows because
Oh
she's
my
not an
gosh.
entertainment show, which entertainment watcher. She's never been, for the record. So when she comes up with this stuff, some of the stuff she's learning, some of the stuff she already knows from following these people or researching, because she's like me, she sees something and then she wants to go and research it. So you're going to be entertainment tonight and everything else. You
Oh
probably
no.
won't do TMZ, but you'll have Amber do TMZ. But she'll be informing you of stuff. So that is our debut show again. If you enjoyed it or you have comments or if you want to correct us on something, if maybe we got it wrong, leave a comment below. I'll always personally respond to you. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. This is free. We don't charge for the show. And we're going to be doing a lot of them. Again, finally, if you want us to talk about something, movies, TV, or music, or you're a movie, TV, or music star, reach out to us. We'll have you on the show because we're going to have guests on the show too. Surprise guests that are
Good.
going to talk about different genres that they're in, whether it's movies, music, or TV. So, on that note, Tammy, great debut show. I will talk to you
That's
soon.
right.
And we could say goodbye to the viewers here.
Okay. You guys have a great day. Thank you for joining us.
All right. Take care.